Hi there, Dolly friends. The dolls are on their way home from nursing school, and I wanted to add a few things to the parlor to make it more comfortable for them. Don't worry if you don't notice what they are, I'm going to show you. You heard me mention that I was making a beaded curtain for the parlor for that opening in the wall. I don't know anything at all about beading, and I was just completely winging it like I always am. And I'm just going to show you what I did. I know there are probably a million better ways to do this, but this is what I did. I took a little eye pin and I had a long loop of thread that I had doubled over, and I just made a little slip knot, and I'm putting on a little, what I call a baguette bead. I don't know what they're really called. They're kind of a long tubular bead. I guess I didn't have my camera on. I cut the eye pin and glued it inside of the little baguette bead. And then I just started gathering beads. I didn't have any pattern. The only thing I tried to do was every so many beads I tried to put one of the baguette beads. I wanted to go 8 inches down. I wanted a nice tall bead. I wanted a nice tall curtain. This one needed a few more. So I added a few, and then I put another baguette bead, and then I added these, I don't even know what they are called. They're like metal tubes similar to the baguette bead, and they can be clamped. So I added that on, and I kind of did a knot around it, like went around a loop on the outside of it and back through. And then you can just crimp it down. Now, I was really enthusiastic and I did break a couple of them, so I had to do it again, but I got the hang of it after a while. And let me tell you, it took a while for me to get this kind of plan for my curtain. I had bought the little rod, so I knew I wanted that. Then I was trying to figure out a way how I was going to hang it on the wall. So I took 2 small balls of air dry clay and I pressed it into this little floral pattern that's on a silver napkin toast holder that I have. And it left a little impression. And my friend Tina, I saw her use these little sewing hooks as wall hooks, and I thought that was a brilliant idea. So I added some air dry clay to that and put it on the back of my medallion, sanded it down, and put a little paint on it. Don't worry, I do fix these walls. I do give them a little paint, and you can see how it's hanging there. Now onto the bookshelf. I see many of my YouTube friends making furniture, and I've never really tried it. Well, that's not exactly true. I made the little table for the infirmary, but I've kind of been a little intimidated since then. But I bought myself some of the basswood. I measured and cut pieces just using my craft knife. I did it all with a craft knife. I'm going to use some Gorilla Wood Glue, and I'm going to start putting it together. I really spent too much time on these little marks. I was trying to be careful. So I decided I wanted to put the sides on, not on the outside of the back piece, but on the inside. Whoops. And I don't have any fancy blocks, but I do have a lot of wood because we're doing some work in our backyard and there's a lot of wood. So I just go out there and collect scraps to use for my crafting. So far so good. This is this is what I thought would happen. But because I put the sides on the inside, the pieces I measured the shelves were a little small, so I just cut them using my my miter shears. Here I'm putting together the top piece, and I did cut a more substantial piece for the bottom. I'll show you that in a minute, but it was really hard to cut that thicker wood. And I'm just doing some dry fitting to make sure they're gonna go where I want. And this is the thicker wood that I'm using on the bottom, and I went ahead and attached that. I'm gonna go ahead and attach the top piece. I don't know if this is the correct order to do things or not, but this is the way that I did it. I think I wanted to know where the center would be, and I made some more marks and I started adding my shelves. I'm pretty amazed that it actually looks like a bookshelf. I took some of these nail art stickers that I bought on Temu, and I added it, thinking that would give it a little bit of detail. I was really concerned about warping the wood when I started adding paint because I knew I was going to do 2 layers of paint. So I put a very, very thin coat of matte Mod Podge to protect the wood from warping. I wasn't sure how it would take the paint after that, but it was just fine. I used a dark umber for the base coat, and the reason I did that is because I want to sand the top coat a little bit to give it some age, and I want that darkness to go through. And I think it gives a nice primer when you're going to paint a piece like this. I used a light color blue along with some turquoise to get kind of the blue that's in the parlor. It came out a little lighter than I wanted, so I'm not too sure. I aged it up a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. I just need to add the books and put it in the parlor. Here's the beaded curtain. And there's the bookshelf. The dolls were glad to be home. Gertrude didn't want to take her nursing hat off. Here's just a tiny peek into the room next to the parlor that I'll be working on next. Some of the dolls are resting in there. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Stay tuned after the outro for another little project. Come back and visit me next time in the doll cupboard.